By the year 2098, sunlight had become weak and the soil turned so acidic that no plants could grow anymore. Earth had lost all its forests, farmland was gone, and deserts had taken over. It felt like the end of humanity was coming. But then a powerful company called UTS Corporation stepped in. They built a new floating home in space, a giant piece of land that orbits around Earth and works like a second planet, copying Earth's natural systems. The problem was UTS couldn't make it big enough for everyone. Only rich people who could afford the expensive UTS services were allowed to move there and become UTS citizens. The rest, 95% of the world's population, were left behind to suffer on the dying Earth. Apart from the rich people living in the UTS orbit, there are also some regular humans called space sweepers. These people live on smaller, poor-quality space colonies called orbits. Their job is dangerous. They fly around in space collecting space junk like broken satellites and abandoned ships. They sell this trash to UTS warehouses to make a living. The boss of UTS, James Sullivan, says he cares about the people still living on Earth, but he always has an excuse for not helping. Instead, he's focused on a new plan, building a fresh civilization on Mars, which he hopes will become the new Earth. Then a space sweeper named Kim Tae-ho visits the UTS Lost and Found warehouse, a place where things and people found floating in space are kept. He's looking for a missing 7-year-old girl and hopes she might be there. But sadly, the dead girl he finds is not the one he's searching for. Disappointed, Tae-ho heads back to space and returns to his ship, Victory. His team includes Tiger Park, a former drug dealer, Bubs, an android who helps run the ship, and Captain Jang, the tough leader of the crew. But they all are poor and barely able to afford food. On top of that, their ship has some damages. So the crew decides to fix the ship on their own. But while working on it, they find something shocking. A little girl hiding inside their ship wearing a spacesuit. Confused and surprised, they bring her back to their ship. At first, they think she's just a lost kid and plan to return her to her parents to earn a reward. But then, things take a scary turn. The news flashes the girl's face across the screen. It says she's not a normal kid. She's actually an android named Dorothy, and inside her is a weapon of mass destruction created by a terrorist group called Black Fox. Terrified, the crew quickly backs away from her and starts arguing about how to get rid of her. Meanwhile, Tae-ho checks Dorothy's device and sees missed calls from someone named Hyun-woo Kang, who he recognizes as a UTS doctor. Tae-ho calls him and demands $2 million was in exchange for giving Dorothy back. To their surprise, Kang agrees, and the whole crew celebrates like they just won the lottery. They decide to meet him at a place called 32nd Commercial District to make the trade. But while all this is happening, none of them realize that CEO James Sullivan is secretly listening to their conversation. James wants Dorothy for himself because he believes she's the key to his big plan, to colonize Mars and make it the new Earth. So James sends his armed men to capture the girl. Meanwhile, Tae-ho and the crew go to meet Dr. Kang to hand over Dorothy, but there's a problem. Dorothy has gone missing. Turns out the little girl wandered off and somehow ended up in a space club. As soon as people see her, they freak out and start running in panic, leaving her alone on the dance floor. Dr. Kang spots her and rushes to help, but the scared crowd pulls him away. James's space soldiers arrive too. They start shooting at Tae-ho, but something amazing happens. Dorothy uses her hidden powers to create a force field and saves him just in time. The crew grabs Dorothy and escapes back to their ship. Now they're all confused and scared. They don't know what to do with Dorothy anymore. But slowly, something starts to change. Tiger Park begins to bond with Dorothy, playing with her and trying to make her feel happy. Later, Bubs the android sits down with Dorothy and tells her about each crew member's past. Tae-ho, for example, used to be a commander of the Space Guards and was known as the first ever UTS genius. He even worked closely with CEO James Sullivan in the past. One day on a mission, Tae-ho found a baby girl who was supposed to be sent back to Earth. But instead of following orders, Tae-ho chose to raise her himself. He named her Suni, loved her like his own daughter, and gave up killing for good. But when James found out that Tae-ho was no longer willing to fight or kill, he called him useless and kicked him out of the UTS program. Tae-ho was forced to live in a poor orbit colony, homeless for a whole year. Then one day during a space debris storm, chaos broke out and Taeho got separated from Suni. Since that day, he's been doing everything he can to earn enough money to hire people to search for her. Later, the crew gets a call from someone offering a huge amount of money to buy Dorothy. Taeho prepares to make the deal, desperate to find Suni. But Tiger Park feels uneasy. He worries about what horrible things might happen to Dorothy if they give her away. Taeho tells him sharply that finding Suni is all that matters to him now. But while they're arguing, Dorothy is kidnapped from the bathroom. The crew quickly notices she's missing, and they rush out to chase down the person who took her. The crew manages to rescue Dorothy and defeat the people who tried to kidnap her. But when they see who the kidnapper really is, they're shocked. It's Karum, the manager of the garbage disposal facility where they usually sell space junk. Captain Zhang interrogates him and soon learns a shocking truth. Dorothy is not an android. She's a real human girl. She was born with a rare disease that made her unable to move. As a last hope, her father, Dr. Kang, injected her with nanobots found in space debris, hoping it would save her. And it worked. Not only did Dorothy survive, but the nanobots also gave her incredible powers. She can now talk to other nanobots, heal living things, and even protect people. James Sullivan, the UTS CEO, discovered Dorothy's powers and used her to make Mars green and healthy. Thanks to her, he could begin turning Mars into a new Earth. But now that Mars is ready, James wants to get rid of her because Dorothy has the power to heal Earth too. And if she does, people won't need Mars or UTS anymore. James would lose control and power. So to stop that from happening, James came up with a dark plan. He created a hydrogen bomb, blamed Dorothy for being dangerous, and now wants to explode the bomb on Earth, killing everyone left behind. His goal is make Mars the only safe place to live, so people will have no choice but to pay UTS and follow him. The crew learns something unexpected. Karam and his group are actually part of Black Fox, an environmental group trying to protect the planet. But James lied to the world, calling them terrorists so he could blame the upcoming hydrogen bomb attack on Earth on them. The crew is shocked. Everything they thought they knew is turning out to be false. Before they can react further, James's space guards show up at their orbit colony. The crew quickly jumps into the Victory and manages to escape, but they're chased by the soldiers. While flying away, they accidentally enter a danger zone filled with millions of nanobots. The ship starts to break down. But then Dorothy steps up again. She uses her powers to talk to the nanobots, calming them down and saving the ship. Right after Dorothy collapses, drained from using too much energy, Tiger Park rushes to give her CPR. Everyone holds their breath. And finally, Dorothy wakes up. The whole crew sighs in relief and laughs. Later, they contact the Black Fox group and make a plan to reunite Dorothy with her dad. When the two ships finally meet, Dorothy runs into her father's arms, and it's a beautiful, emotional moment. But their happiness doesn't last. Suddenly, James's soldiers attack. They storm in and kill Dr. Kang along with all the Black Fox members. James shows up in person. He hands Taeho and his team $4 million as payment for protecting the girl, and then takes Dorothy away. Once James and his men are gone, Tiger turns to the crew and says they need to rescue Dorothy. But Taeho doesn't agree. He wants to use the money James gave them to search for his own daughter, Suni. This leads to a heated argument between Taeho and Tiger. Eventually, Captain Zhang steps in. She tells Taeho that he should go find Suni, and the rest of the crew will go on a mission to save Dorothy. Everyone begins getting ready for their separate goals. Taeho stays behind, deep in thought, remembering his time with Suni, her smile, her laugh, how much she meant to him. Then he makes a decision. Taeho shows up and says he's coming with them to rescue Dorothy. Now fully united, the crew gets into their ship, ready for battle. They take their positions and begin the dangerous mission. As they fly toward Dorothy's location, the space guards attack and fire at them again and again. But the Victory crew fights back with everything they've got. Thanks to their teamwork and skills, they outmaneuver the guards and finally make it to the secret place where Dorothy is being kept. There, they find Dorothy scared and tied to a chair, right next to the hydrogen bomb. Captain Zhang checks the bomb and realizes something horrifying. If it explodes, it'll destroy everything within 5,000 kilometers. The Victory crew knows they should fly away immediately, but there's a problem. If they leave now, the hydrogen bomb will still explode and kill billions of people on Earth. They can't let that happen. Even though it's risky, the crew decides to stay and do something about it. They contact all the other space sweepers, asking them for help to distract the space guards and buy them time to escape the facility. The plan works. With the help of the other sweepers, the crew breaks out and flies far away, while the sweepers on the outside start fighting the space guards. The guards start losing. One by one, their ships go down, until only one enemy ship is left. That last ship is being piloted by James Sullivan himself. Meanwhile, Captain John comes up with a plan to expose James once and for all. She hacks the system and broadcasts everything James has done, his lies, the fake terrorist story, the hydrogen bomb, and his plan to destroy Earth. Now everyone knows the truth. The Victory keeps flying and finally reaches 5,000 kilometers away from Earth. At that moment, James's ship latches onto the Victory, ready to take Dorothy. But when he breaks in, he's shocked to find that Dorothy isn't there. Instead, he sees only the hydrogen bomb. The crew tricked him. They secretly sent Dorothy away with the space sweepers, keeping her safe. The crew had made the ultimate choice: to sacrifice their own lives and fly the bomb far away from Earth so it can explode without hurting anyone. Finally, the hydrogen bomb explodes, wiping out James and the Victory ship along with it. It seems like the crew has sacrificed themselves to save the entire world. As the smoke and dust clear, we see that Victory is still there, completely unharmed. It turns out that Dorothy had secretly used her nanobot powers to create a protective shield around the ship before the explosion. The crew is shocked, overjoyed, and filled with gratitude for the little girl who saved them all. Time passes, and things start to change for the better. Bubs, the android, now looks human, choosing a new appearance to feel more like part of the crew. Earth begins to heal. Greenlands, forests, and farms slowly return, all thanks to Dorothy's powers. And the most heartwarming part? Dorothy helps Tejo reunite with his daughter Suni, using her abilities to find her after all this time. The crew of Victory goes back to being space sweepers. But this time, everything's different. They have a better ship, more money, and most importantly, they have Dorothy as part of their family.